Hello YouTube, I'm your Huckleberry, and what do we have going on here? We have a gavel, and we have two knives that I have previously reviewed. The Honey Badger, this is the large version, and the ABKT Scavenger. So what's all this about, Huck? Well, thank you for asking, dear viewer. Let me explain it to you. I've decided that today we're going to do a little bit of a different video. And that is what the gavel is for. We are going to make a final judgment between these two knives on which one you should buy if you are only going to buy one. And for this first video, I have, of this type, I have chosen two knives, and every video that I do, a final judgment video that I do, will follow these kind of same guidelines. Two knives that are similar in size, similar price points, and kind of similar styles, shall we say. And so that way, if you could only buy one, which one would you buy? In my opinion, according to my final judgment. That's kind of the whole idea behind this. So now, court is in session. And let's get to it, shall we? Okay, so as I stated earlier, as you see before you here, we have two knives. The ABKT Scavenger that comes in at $30, and the large Honey Badger, which comes in at around $35-ish. So similar price points. As you can see, they are similar in size. And so we're going to look at a few different factors here. I'm going to judge these based on aesthetics, the materials used, quality of materials used, the overall fit and finish, what I call the fidgetability, which is kind of a combination of the factor, the lockup, how easy it is to lock to disengage, things like that. How easy and fun is the knife to fidget with? Because for me personally, that's something that I like. I like fidgetability in a knife. And so I'm going to judge it based on that. Carryability, so that's going to be things like your weight, your pocket clip, how easy does it carry in the pocket, stuff like that. Ease of service, meaning were they easy to get apart and maintain, to lube up? Did they have red Loctite on them? How easy were they to break down and maintain? And then the last one that I have is called wow factor. Now, what is wow factor? That's just something that I look at that, if I were to take this knife out of my pocket, would somebody who's probably not even a knife person look at it and say, wow, that's kind of neat. That's kind of cool. Or even just, wow, what is that? It might be kind of out there. And so that's kind of the final factor there, the wow factor. We can have ties. If there are ties in, any of the categories, or even overall, it may be a tie. The final judgment may be a tie. But anyway, okay, so let's get into it. That's kind of the breakdown and how this is going to go. So let's get into the different areas there. So first being aesthetics. So here's a good look at the Honey Badger. You've got the satin finish flat grind blade. You got the FRN handles with the honeycomb pattern. You got the cool little logo right there. We have kind of a drop point with a swedge up there of the Scavenger. We got the G10 scales with a nice texturing. You've got this logo right there, which I do not like. So there's a mark against that. So in the overall aesthetics of it, they're both brown. That's just kind of coincidence. They're kind of both the tan brown color. I love the honeycomb pattern on the Honey Badger. I like the logo of the Honey Badger. But I really like the blade shape of the Scavenger. As far as aesthetic goes, I like that there's very minimal branding on here. All you see is the 8CR13 MOV on the blade. I like that. I like that there's no billboarding. Now on the Scavenger here, you do have the D2 right there. That's the blade steel. And you do have that kind of logo that's there in the middle of the blade. And I knocked that on the original review of the Scavenger because I don't like that it's just like right there in the middle of the blade. I wish it were kind of up here. So that's kind of a mark against that. You got kind of a black wash blade with just a plain satin blade versus the plain satin of the Honey Badger. Overall, in aesthetics, I think the one that I like, that I would choose based purely off aesthetics alone, if that was the only thing that I was going to judge it on, I would say I would reach for this one. I would reach for the Scavenger. I like the blade shape of the Scavenger a little bit better. I like that swedged drop point there. I like the black and tan combo. I do like the texturing on the G10 here. And so if it weren't for that logo, I'd like it a whole lot better. But overall, if you told me, okay, you can only grab these based solely off appearance, I would go for the Scavenger. So that's 1 point for the Scavenger there. Next up, materials. So the materials used. So with the Honey Badger, you have 8CR 13 MOV blade steel as stated on the blade. And you have FRN scales here over stainless steel liners. So, and with the Scavenger here, you've got a D2 blade over and G10 scales over stainless steel liners. And they both run on bearings, stainless steel bearings. So materials to me, I mean, this is for me personally, this is not very close D2. I go with a D2 blade, and I honestly prefer G10 over FRN as well. So I definitely would go with the Scavenger in terms of materials as well. So another point for the Scavenger there. The fit and finish. So the fit and finish of the Honey Badger is really nice. There are no hot spots. Everything is well rounded. All the FRN, no hot spots or sharp angles on the FRN. The blade there is a little sharp at the top of the blade, but not bad. The deployment hole here is well chamfered. No sharp edges inside there. You've got this really nice jimping on both the top and the bottom. The Honey Badger overall is very well, especially for the $35 mark, is very well finished. It has great fit and finish. The Scavenger, on the other hand, the fit and finish is a little more rough. The edges of the G10 here are a little bit sharp. Not to the point that it hurts in my hand, but you can feel it. You can feel it. If I were to use these for extended periods of time, the Honey Badger would be easier to use over time because the fit and finish and the rounded edges here just fit better in hand than this. There's also no jimping there, which I consider part of the fit and finish. So you have no jimping on top there. So overall, fit and finish, I'm going to go with the Honey Badger on that one. So that's a point for the Honey Badger there. The fidget ability. So this is basically like the action of the knife. The action, the lockup, how easy is the lock to disengage? Is there any lock stick? Anything like that. And with both these knives, they both ride on stainless steel bearings. No lock stick on either one. The lockup is good on both of them. The lock bar is easy to disengage. There is no lock stick or anything like that. They both fall shut pretty easily. But the detent of the Honey Badger is better than the Scavenger here. The Scavenger definitely has a weaker detent. The detent of the Honey Badger is just a whole lot better. And so overall, I think that makes the fidgetability, all of the things being equal, which they pretty much are, I think the fidgetability of the Honey Badger is better because it has a better detent. And thereby, it has a better overall action. Not by a lot, but because of that detent, the Honey Badger wins. So there we go. There's another point for the Honey Badger there. Carryability. Moving on to the next one, which is carryability. These are both, neither one of these are what I would call a heavy knife. Let's go ahead and bring in the AccuWeight scale and weigh them both just so you can see. I do this in the original review, but maybe you didn't watch the original review. If you haven't, go back and watch that, please. You got 3.9 ounces on the Honey Badger there. And we have 3.7 ounces on the Scavenger. So essentially the same weight. I mean, you were talking 2/10 of an ounce. So they're essentially the same weight. Therefore, the deep carry pocket clip of the Honey Badger, I do like, although, this carries pretty deep. I'm not someone who absolutely has to have a deep carry pocket clip with my knife completely buried in my pocket. That's not something that's a huge factor for me, as long as you don't have, half the knife sticking out there. I mean, this much of the knife I can deal with. That's not a problem. It makes it easier to grab and pull out. And so I don't have a big problem with that. And so this one was tough on the overall carryability. This would really come down to, for maybe you personally, is if you absolutely need a deep carry pocket clip. Because if you did, the Honey Badger, this is an easy winner for you. The Honey Badger would win, with weight being the same, size being the same, of course, roughly the same on both of those. Then the main factor for you would be that the Honey Badger has a deep carry pocket clip, but this is my channel, and I'm judging this according to my standards. And having that much of the knife sticking out doesn't bother me. And so with everything else being equal, this is a tie. It's a tie for me. They're essentially the same weight. They're essentially the same size. The deep carry pocket clip is not a big enough of a factor for me to make a difference. So I would say that that's a tie on that one for me. Moving on here, ease of service. How easy were these knives to take apart, clean up, put back together? Both of them fairly straightforward, easy knives, just kind of basic liner lock knives. There was no red Loctite of death on either one of these. And so they were both really easy to take apart and to service and to get back together. No surprises, just real simple. So again, I think you're coming up to a tie there. They were about as equally easy to take apart and put back together. Didn't run into problems with either one. Real simple, straightforward liner lock flipper knives. And so again, you have a tie. Okay, so if you're keeping score there, we've got 2 points for the Scavenger. We've got 2 points for the Honey Badger. And 2 ties. And so it's going to all come down here to the wow factor, which is really subjective. I mean, such as, aesthetics is real objective too, but this is probably the most subjective part. So the wow factor. So if I were to take this knife out and show it to somebody who maybe had no real idea about knives, a novice when it comes to knives. Their idea of a knife is your old traditional case knife that their grandfather carried. That's their idea of a knife. So which one of these has the wow factor? This one was a tough one too, because neither one of these knives have anything that really make it stand out. They're pretty straightforward. Like I said, they're both flippers on stainless steel bearings, liner lock knives, fairly straightforward construction. Well, not fairly straightforward. I mean, really straightforward construction. Which one has the wow factor? And for me, it came down to the Honey Badger, and let me tell you why. Mainly because of the name Honey Badger. I mean, Scavenger, this is actually what the Elite Desert Scavenger, I believe, which is kind of a mouthful. But, and Scavenger is not a bad name, Desert Scavenger, whatever you want to call it. But Honey Badger is a cool name. It's a cool name, especially when you combine it with the honeycomb pattern of the scales. I think somebody would take this out, look at it, and say, hey, Honey Badger. Because most people, or a lot of people, I should say, not most, but a lot of people have probably seen that YouTube video about the Honey Badger. Honey Badger just don't care, right? Especially if they're, you know, maybe a little bit younger, you know, 35 or younger or so, or these days, I mean, with everybody who uses the internet, maybe a lot more than that. But they've probably seen that. They would probably look at that and be like, oh, honey badger just don't care. That's cool. And it is cool. It's cool to me too. And that's kind of why I gave the honey badger the win there on the wow factor, because like I said, neither one of these are a standout. They're not really a unique design or have a unique feature, a unique lock or a unique steel or anything like that. And so because of that, I think the name honey badger wins for me, and especially when you combine that with the honeycomb pattern of the scales. And so to me, the honey badger wins. And so that means by a score of, okay, hold on, I got to do math. 3-2, essentially, because we had 2 ties. So if a score of 3-2, the honey badger wins. If I could only buy one of these knives, or let's say if I could only keep one of these knives, you maybe sell the other, I would keep the honey badger. It has better fit and finish. It has the wow factor. It has the fidgetability. If I had to choose to keep only one, it would be the honey badger. And so that is the final judgment. That's it. No one else can say anything else. It has been said. Let it be written in stone. Between the honey badger and the scavenger, the clear winner is the honey badger. And no one else can ever say anything different. I have a gavel. It's official. That's it. Final judgment. Okay, guys. That's going to do it for this video. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. If you hated this video, because I'm sure there's going to be some people who hate this video, and that's okay, go ahead and give me a thumbs down. And let me know down in the comments what you liked or disliked, or if you have any questions, or just want to say, hey, what's up? Go ahead and put that all down in the comments below. I enjoy interacting with you guys, reading those comments and responding back to you. And no matter what you do, whether you love this video or hated this video, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and the little notification bell that notifies you whenever I come out with a new video. I try to keep my video schedule, I release one every 3 or 4 days, so it works out to about 2 a week. Video-wise is where I try to keep it, is where I've been keeping it consistently. And so that's what you can expect. And all right, guys, that's going to do it for this one. I will see you guys in the next one. Goodbye.